Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So today I have a new review for you. 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Husseini. Khaled Husseini is a very popular author. He's a Muslim, I think he's from Afghanistan. Yeah, he was born in Kabul, Afghanistan and moved to the United States in the 1980s. His first novel was The Kite Runner, and I think that what got him famous because it was made into a movie and it's a very emotional, graphic movie. I warn you guys before you watch it. His books are usually about the history of Afghanistan, just like The Kite Runner. This one is. It really takes you from the uprising in 1979. And then the Russian occupation, and then the Taliban, and then it takes you till the Americans went to Afghanistan. So it really takes you through about 3-4 generations of what has been going on in Afghanistan. The book, so this is not for this is an adult book, but the reason why I'm reviewing this book is because a lot of our youth read his books just because he's a popular Muslim author. And actually the reason I read this is because I have been told by my daughter, it was recommended to my daughter by another teen Muslim, a Muslim teen, a friend of hers. Now, so we got it, and I knew The Kite Runner. I read it in the past. I don't remember anything about it, but I did see the movie as well. And I remember that the movie was very emotional, very strong, very graphic. So I was kind of wary about this one, especially that it did say that it is too about the history of Afghanistan. So I decided that we read it together. I told her we can get it and we can read it together, and we did. Till we came across, I don't know what to call it other than a sex scene. Detailed explanation. So we had to stop. And there is no doubt that the book is a great book. I loved it. I read it to the last page. The story itself, the author, the writing, it really it was very, very engaging. He's not hard at all, even though this is an adult novel. It's easy to understand. It is relatively long, but there are a few, not one or two, there are a few scenes in there that is rated R, basically. And not only that, even the storyline itself, there are a lot of very intense scenes. Like there is a suicide in here. There is a lot of he mentioned a lot about Taliban, which is okay. I'm not gonna talk political here, but the thing is, it needs a lot of explanation and historical background, supervision. Like you have to explain to your youth, especially when he reads things like that Muslims doing these horrendous, horrible actions, beating up women in the middle of the street, letting so much oppression happen under their eyes, in the name of Islam. It needs to be explained. And they cannot just read a book like this and say, oh, this is what Muslims are and that's what's going to happen to us if Muslim rule the world, for example. They're going to be doing all these, and women are not supposed to go to schools. They're not supposed to work. But yet they were starving to death and they were not allowed to go but they were allowed to go beg in the streets for food, but yet they're not allowed to go and work and make money. She at some point, her husband was beating her up, was abusing her, so much abuse to women in this book. And the man is supposedly, religious. He goes to the mosque, he prays, so these things need to be explained. That there is a difference between what Islam is and what some Muslims do. So books like this need a lot of supervision, a lot of, not necessarily supervision, but when I say supervision, I mean either you read it with your child as a book club kind of thing, or a read aloud kind of thing, and you discuss together, or you read it, she reads it, or he reads it, and then you have an open discussion. What do you think about it? What do you what are your thoughts? What do you think about the author? What happened here and what happened there? There's a point where, the hospital, it was a woman hospital, and they changed it to men hospital, and the woman was pregnant, and she wanted to deliver her baby, but they had to send her to another very far away hospital for women that was really, really, really in a very bad condition, because simply they don't have female workers or doctors or nurses enough to take care of their patients. Uh, Plus, it was underfunded, of course, because it was for women. So things like that needed to be explained. So what I did when I was reading with my daughter, I told her, well, obviously it's not something that we should keep on reading, but she was really engaged in the story. So I told her, here's the thing, I'll continue to read it, and if I feel like I can give it another try, we'll do that. But as I'm reading it, I will tell you what happened, and I will summarize the book for you. So she agreed, alhamdulillah, and that's what I did. But I did not give this book another chance with my daughter, because it was really, 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 um, I don't know what to say other than it's really rated R. It cannot, this should not be read by our youth, at least young, like not under 18, not under 18. This is, first of all, it's very depressing, very uh, very graphic, and it's just, there are scenes in there um, that they should not be exposed to at that age. That's about it. But for you as a parent, this is really a good book to read, because it exposes you to, well, if you are interested in the history of Afghanistan from a different perspective, you can read about it. It really tells you what happened through all these, I don't know, 40 years, 30, 40 years. And it's an engaging story, I cannot deny that. The author is really good. He writes in a very, very engaging and catchy style. And it's simple. It's long, but it's simple. That's how it looks. Um, um, Not so bad. Actually a bookmark. Um, like this, and in the first half of the book, you really feel like it's like two different books, because the first book talks about one character. The first part talks about one character, which is Maryam, and then the second part, it's about four, I think, parts or something. And the second part leaves Maryam totally on the side. She lives in the same street as Layla, the second character, main character. Um, but then the whole second part is about Layla, and you wonder, okay, so what happened to Maryam? But then the third and the fourth and the rest of the story comes in, and join the two stories together in a very beautiful way and very engaging way, and leaves you wondering what's going to happen next. So it's really nice. I don't know, could I have done it as I read aloud with my daughter, like I read to her without her having to read it herself and skip through some scenes? No, because as I said, there is the suicide. There is also a scene where Layla is in love with her neighbor, and they ended up having a relation outside of marriage, and then she had I don't want to spoil the book for you if you're interested to read it, but then she had a child outside of marriage, and then she went and married another man. So it's really, it's just complicated. And even when I told my daughter the story, I chose to not tell her certain stuff that is not necessary for her to know at this age, like, having a child outside of marriage, and then having to marry another man, hiding that she's pregnant with somebody else's child, you know. And then, of course, when her husband knew, he called her names. And so, as you see, it's really, it's not. I was, as I was reading this, I felt really bad about the, about having this book recommended by a teen. She's 13, or no, she's 14. Who recommended this book for my daughter. I was like, why? And this is again and again and again, and I will tell you guys, not because the author is Muslim, not because the topic of the story is about a Muslim or the main characters are Muslims, that you take this for granted as if, oh, this is going to be a good, clean literature. Well, I have nothing against him because technically this is an adult book. It was just being picked up by a youth, I would say, basically, mainly because we get so excited when we have Muslim authors on the shelf, and we just pick up the book regardless of, we don't even give ourselves a chance to look through the book or read reviews about the book and see if it's appropriate or not. And I think that's what a lot of our youth do too. They just get excited about a Muslim author or a book with Muslim main characters, and they assume it's good and appropriate for young adults, and they read it. But I just don't think that this is really uh, good for anyone younger than 18. This should be an 18 and up. It's clearly an adult book. That's about it. I hope you guys like the review, and let me know what you think. And I will see you in another book review. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.